It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and fill your mind.
Hey guys, how is it going? And welcome to the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. It is Friday, April 19th, and so happy for you joining us. We are ready to start another day together with the Lord. So subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. So today we have an exciting podcast for you. We have Until the End with Daniel Baker, the Wednesday Message Word Study, and of course commentaries, updates, and news on what is happening around the world in this history today. All right, everyone, how are you doing? And it is a wonderful week coming to an end. Don't forget, we have Q&A Thursday every single week, so get those questions ready. Send them to me whenever you can. And if you haven't yet, please leave a like and comment to build our community. Just super happy for everyone joining us every weekday on the Morning Star Drive. So let's get up and support each other each and every day. This week's Sunday message title is Prophecy and Promise Have Been Fulfilled According to What the Time Period Has Done When the Time Came. So, I'm sure you guys we're kind of shocked by the news yesterday. We went from 2 weeks, right? There's supposed to be 2 weeks for little Emily to, the doctor said she would live for the next 2 weeks. And then suddenly you hear the news that she has already passed. So it is a heavy day for the Mont family over there in New York. I was able to message with the father, Mike, and both Mike and Shirley. When I was head leading in New York, they were newcomers at that time. And I believe that his wife, Chinese, and he's American, was just learning at that time too. So Emily did pass on Wednesday morning in New York, which was kind of Wednesday evening for me over here. And it was just a few hours after I recorded the Thursday podcast. Man, and like when I heard the news, I just finished lecture training at a cafe. And I was so brokenhearted. Like my heart was left in pieces. I just, the text message was, Emily, the doctors say Emily is about to pass. And I can't, and I still can't imagine what Mike and Shirley have gone through. And it's got to be a tough time to see your children pass before you do. And I think right now is a great time for them to grieve. It's time for us to pray for Emily to go safely into the spiritual world. And, as we've learned in the spiritual world lecture, now by the time you listen to this, it's going to be the third day. And the spiritual world lecture, well, it'll be the second day actually, when we get this in Malaysia. But we learned in the spiritual world lecture that there's like this 3 to 4 day period for the spirit to prepare and get ready to leave, right? So when you look in Jude, there's only one chapter. It says that when Moses died, the angels and the demons began to fight over his spirit, like what side he's going to go. And what did Sunseem say? During the spiritual world lecture, he says that they will fight over the spirit according to the deeds of what that person did in their lifetime. But also something that's very important for us to understand is what Sunseem said about children. Children, especially generally speaking, under 5, are sinless, and they will go to heaven, and they'll be taken care of and raised in heaven too. So that's one thing we kind of take solace in, knowing that Emily will be taken care of, and she will have a place without any suffering. So, let's really pray that Emily's spirit has safe travel. She prepares really well, that she will be united with the Holy Trinity in heaven. She'll be treated like a princess that she is. And one thing I do know about both Mike and Shirley, very strong parents of faith, and they have put everything aside for their daughter. And I hope that one thing that he did tell me is he is so thankful to everyone who's prayed on this podcast too. And he knows that, you can easily read the comments and, listen to the podcast and know that many of us have been praying for Emily. And, I talked to a couple people, especially those that are parents and new parents too. It's just so heartbreaking just to see all this happen. But I hope that we can give them strength through this time of grieving. And I hope that, and I know, because I've known them since they first came to Providence, that they will hold on so firmly to God, to the Holy Trinity at this time, to Jesus, to the man of mission. So it is something that that we can continue to pray for the family as they grieve, and continue to pray for Emily as they have that process for the spirit, which can take 3 to 4 days. Okay, so yeah, I know a lot of people have contacted me. They are heartbroken. But one thing for sure is, one thing you might not know is she did go through surgery as a newborn also. So she did have some complications with her health, and no one knows why God is taking her this early. But all we know 100% is we trust in God that it was for the best. It was really and truly for the best, right? And yesterday, like I said, even though I recorded the podcast earlier, it was when she was living, and I that's why I kept the prayer on it, and I just put that extra audio at the front of it, just telling you what the real situation was. And I wanted to keep that prayer as part of like history. Like, we were praying for her, and it was a genuine prayer when she was alive. But I put that update at the very beginning of the podcast, just so everyone knew that no, things have already changed, but I do want to leave this on historically, and just to let the parents know that, hey, we were praying, and we were really praying with all our hearts for Emily too. So yeah, that's kind of why I left all those things on there still. Okay, so yeah, our prayers go out to both Mike and Shirley and their entire family. And of course, our prayer and our love goes out to Emily. Man, yesterday when I heard it, actually, I was at a cafe doing a lecture training, and I had to wait for this person I was lecture training to leave before I just had these. I didn't cry. I just had the tears kind of streaming down my face. I'm just like, wow. It was just so heartbreaking for me. But it was also very encouraging and strengthening for me when I talked to Mike. And he is so strong about it. He had so much peace in his heart. And, it came through also. I talked a little bit about it when I did the Sermons in the Sky yesterday too. All right, so yeah. On some kind of more happier news, I just finished teaching part 3 of the history lesson. And man, this newcomer, like these types of newcomers, just incredibly powerful. So, like I told you before, this guy is a pastor of a church, and he's flying. And after I finished the history lesson, what he said to me is, now that I've learned this, like when it comes to interpretation of the Bible, people can argue about it. But when it comes to the history lesson, he says, this is irrefutable that this history is true. It's irrefutable. It is it's all facts, right? There is nothing that you can interpret from it. It is just facts itself, right? And he was like going, if I was a lawyer and I wanted to prove this history, I would just use this lesson. And what was even more powerful was just the way God worked through the entire lesson. Because after the lesson, we kind of talked, and he was just really inspired. He was so moved. He was shocked. He was, everything. He had all these thoughts and all these things that were going through his head, and he's just like blown away. And all of a sudden, I was inspired by like knowing what this guy's position. No, he's a pastor of a church. Like knowing this guy's a pastor of a church and everything else. I was like, I told him like, many people, I was like, you're not in, I told him, there's a prophecy about you. And he's like, what? I was like, yeah, there's a prophecy about you or people in your position. And he's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, even when Sunseam started preaching in 1978, from 1978 to 1999, there were many pastors that came to Providence that were pastors of churches. And he was kind of shocked, like, this is what you meant. Like people like me who are pastors of the church and stuff like this, right? And I told him, like, there's a prophecy about you. And he's like, what's the prophecy? And I said, turn to Matthew 24, verse 19. And the prophecy is how dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. And he basically said, that's what that I've been racking my brain trying to figure out what this means. And he's like, what does it have to do with me? Like, what does it mean? And I explained to him, it's like, well, think about this, like dreadful, like for nursing mothers, right? So I said, hey, do you remember the sun, moon, and stars lesson? He's like, yeah, of course I do. So the sun is the father, the moon is the mother, and then the stars are the children, right? And if you take it to the national level, when you learn sun, moon, and stars, the sun is symbolizing Moses, who is the father of the Old Testament, right? The moon is the mothers, which is the religious leaders, right? And why are the religious leaders considered the moon? Because the moon doesn't have its own light. It only reflects the light of the sun. What does that mean? Well, Moses, like all the laws come from Moses. So all the religious leaders, whenever people come to them with questions, they always state things like, oh, Moses said this and Moses said that. Like just like there's a story where the religious leaders bring a woman caught in the act of adultery. And the first thing they say in John chapter 8, verse 5 is, in the law, Moses commanded us. So they bring up Moses first because Moses is the son, right? The father of that, the one that makes the rules, right? So the religious leaders become the mothers. The pastors become the mothers. They're the ones who study about Jesus, and then they're the ones that need to explain about Jesus to them, right? So when you look at this, it's like, oh, so the mothers of today are who? They are the pastors, the ones that have the churches and such, right? So here you have these pastors. And what does it have to do how dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers? Why is it that many pastors of churches came to Providence and they just left? They are the nursing mothers, pregnant women, because they can't let go of their children. They can't let go of it. They're looking at their children. They feel that they have to be there for their children. They can't let go of them and come to the new history. It's kind of like the rich man. The rich man is a very, very similar situation. It's very hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. It's hard to let go of their status, their position, their thoughts of, letting go of what they thought God was leading them towards, right? And when he heard this, his mind was blown because he said, that's what I'm feeling right now. I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this for a while. Well, and he was just so blown away. And everything he's heard is like, this is irrefutable. And we're like going, and it was just incredible. Just to see this guy's reaction, so pure, and someone who's married, expecting a kid, and he is a pastor of a church, but he's so humble. Just sponge, wanting to learn. He knows it's right. He's like, wow, he's getting ready to evangelize his family, right? He's getting ready to evangelize his congregation. Like there's so many things that he's getting ready for. So when I looked at this, I was like, man, these are the types of people we really need. Like it reminds me of the days when I was super yeah, let's get into this. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. I want to run for this history with all my life. Like that's his position right now. And I was just like, wow, incredible. It really was incredible. And I was floored by his reaction. I really was. So when you meet these types of newcomers, it recharges you. It makes the entire lecturing worth it. Like, think about it. I only lectured 3 times. I've only met him for 1 week. Today is actually 1 week that I met him. Taught him on Friday. Taught him on Friday, Tuesday, Thursday. It's been 1 week. I met him 3 times. Taught him 3 times, and I just received so much strength from his reactions and such. And the more I look at this too, wow, the way that he understands and the way that he it's different. He's just different. And I hope that I told everyone we got to pray for him, because if you're a pastor of a church, you're going to go through some difficult times. So we're all praying for him. I hope you guys can pray for him too. I don't want to, I don't know if he wants his name all over like the airwaves and stuff, so I'm not going to say his name and such, but really, really pray for him. And let's pray for him so that he can do even better. And, I think he's going to probably write a letter about his situation. Just really, I'm excited for him. I really, really am. I can't wait to see what his future is going to be like too. Yeah. So, I've been, now that I'm getting back into lecturing, you guys ever feel I talked to someone else yesterday, another leader, and they were telling me they feel so drained by lecturing. They feel like it's a bit boring, and you're just kind of teaching the basics. This means this and this means this, and you're just mainly showing them what the answers are, and you're just kind of going with the flow of lecturing. And I've been through it. I've been through that stage, and it sucks. It really does. It just feels monotonous. It feels bland. It's mainly I think is usually when lecturers or leaders have been kind of getting to the point of burnout. And I think it's a point when you kind of reach that burnout point, you need a quick break. You need to reload the stockpile. You need new realizations, new thoughts, new ways of looking at the message and stuff like that too. And, I think it's kind of the same as like what I said after 2023. Many leaders were leading through 2023. They did a lot of amazing things. It was a hard job to just help so many people struggling through that time. And I would say, they need that break. And I would say not just a spiritual break, right? Because a spiritual break, you can go anywhere and have a spiritual break. But I do think sometimes people need a physical break too. Like, what does that mean? I know that everyone always goes to Korea for if they get a chance to take a trip. And I would say that's like, if you don't get to go to Wimbledon very often, that's a great place to go. But if you really want to break physically, I don't think Korea is a good place, physically speaking, because you're going to go to Wimbledon, you're going to get education, you're moving around, touring. It's expensive for some people. For myself, like when I'm here in Malaysia, I would take a quick vacation. I would go to somewhere cheap around here, like Langkawi, Bali, Thailand, just to rest. Rest my body and mind, get my mind completely recovered. I can still pray over there. I can still do those things. It's a lot cheaper. I'm still away. You go to this magically amazing oasis too, just to get your body and your mind refreshed, right? And I think it's something that people do have to think about is, sometimes you got to go somewhere else. Like even in Korea, they're not going to, whenever they get a break, they're not always going to Wolmyeongdong. They're going to Jeju-do, right? They're going to the islands. They're going to Japan. They're going to Taiwan. They're going to go visit other islands and stuff just to take a break and a real vacation, right? And I think it's something that people really need to do. And if I were to make a suggestion for some people, I would even say that, take a break, go find a good place to go to. And, it's okay if it's not Korea. It really is, right? It's not something that you have to go no matter what. There's many things that you can do, many places that you can go also. And sometimes you just need to get away from people, right? Sometimes you can get away from people. You can be sitting on the beach. You can sit there and just be in peace. Talk to God, be thankful, sing some praises, right? Go into the water, right? Look at fish, go snorkeling. Like, some things that you just got to do there that are physical. You can't expect everything always to be so spiritual. You know what I mean? So I would say that that's another thing that a lot of people can do, because some people, Korea is just way too expensive. It really is. Flying from America, Canada, or flying from a poorer countries that the currency is not very strong, even that's it's just too expensive that you can rarely go once a year, right? So I would say find some places that, find also some places you can take a real break while doing that too, right? Like even right now, it's so refreshing. Whether it's lecture training, seeing like these people I give lecture training to, their eyes light up, or when I see tears in their eyes, it's so worth it. Whether it's lecturing or lecture training, it's so refreshing. And even though even the campus member I'm doing lecture training to right now, it's all basic stuff. The last lesson I gave yesterday was Elijah and the Ravens food. It was, but for me, it's great because I haven't taught them in such a long time that it's sharpening sharpening me again. And it kind of feels like God is refreshing my heart to start lecturing again, right? Because I'm kind of a little bit timid when people ask me to do lecturing again. I'm actually a little bit timid because I haven't done it in such a long time. I am a little bit scared. Like I have that fear, like, oh man, I haven't done it in a long time. I don't remember all these things. I'm going to make these mistakes and those mistakes too. But now that I am doing lecture training and doing some lecturing, it's very, very refreshing. And I can kind of feel that, I feel that fire starting to burn in my heart again, and I love it. Like I did Elijah yesterday, and like I was feeling it again. Feeling what? I was feeling the fire of the word, right? So I'm teaching Elijah the raven's food. And of course, it's about symbolism. And, the ravens mean this, and the bread and meat, how did it come? And you begin to explain these things again. And it can get very monotonous. And especially when you're teaching people, like members, who have already learned the word so many times, that they already know what the ravens symbolize. They already know what all these things symbolize. That sometimes what they need is, what can I gain from these points in the message? How does it really affect my daily life? Right? And sometimes it's the messages inside the lesson that really hit home with people. It's the grace we want to feel while we're listening to the 30 lessons. And these are the things that truly hit us. Like for me, this time when I was teaching Elijah the Raven's food, once again, what hit me? I just began to realize once again, like how incredible the man of mission is. Like the people sent by God, how incredible they are. And how much we can realize God's Shimjung, but even on top of it, how much more that central figure realizes God's Shimjung more than we do, right? And you could tell by their actions. Because when you look at Elijah's story, when you kind of look at it, it looks like he got the short end of the stick. He didn't do anything wrong. He's just following what God wanted. But in the end, he's the one that's being chased. He's the one that they're trying to kill. He had to run away. He's the one that suffered by eating the food sacrificed to idol. He's the one that was running and hiding from Jezebel. And he's just doing what God says. And it almost seems unfair that the one that is on God's side has to go through so much suffering and toil. But the thing that we keep forgetting is that Elijah is the one that God chose. Why? God chooses the one because this is the person that knows God's heart the best. This is the one that loves God the most. And when you really look at it, a lot of times we fall into that trap of comfort where we come to church and then all of a sudden our expectation is God's going to take care of everything in our life. He's going to take care of our business. He's going to take care of our finance. He's going to take care of this, take care of our family, the family situation. God's going to take care of this. We're going to be blessed in so many different ways. And we almost feel that because we believe in God, we shouldn't have any problems. Hey, if we believe in God, how come we have all this suffering? And the answer is, wait a second. We've lost the entire reason why we came, why we believed in the first place, which was salvation. We've already got the biggest thing taken care of. What's Elijah do? He's chosen because he knows God's heart better, and he knows how much God really wants everyone to be saved. He knows that heart. He knows how much God really wants, to make sure that everyone goes to heaven. And because he loves God that much, he wants to fulfill that for God. Elijah running away, Elijah eating sacrificial foods, Elijah hiding and suffering inside the drought. If he just gave up and said, forget this, screw this, I'm leaving, then what happens? Then everyone in Israel gets judged. What's the point? The point is to save. It's to save. And he says, yeah, I'll suffer so that all these people can live. He was the last of the prophets. If he dies, it's all over. God's history is broken. And he loved God so much, and he knew God's deep Shimjung so deeply that he said, yeah, God, what do you need next? What can I do for you next? And I think it's not any different that even when I look at a situation, with Emily and Mike and Shirley, if they love their daughter so much, do you think they would sacrifice everything for her to live? And the answer is absolutely. That is an absolute yes. Why? Because of love. They suffer, they sacrifice because of love, because it's worth it, because they love their daughter so deeply. And you can see the heart of God through that. How much God loves each and every one of us so deeply that he's willing to sacrifice, that all these people that God loves so much, even his own son, Jesus came down, the Messiah, and even he was sacrificed because God loves us that much more. And I think we have to sometimes realize that we've kind of gone off track. We're not in the right space, in the right mindset got to get back on track and know why we're doing this, right? So, I think it's something that we have to realize and recognize more and realize and think to ourselves is, are we still on track or have we kind of fallen off track, right? What are we doing? So I hope it's something that, like when I start going over this again, you start to realize once again how deep these lessons truly are. And I hope that, we can relearn the lessons or get lecture training on them so that we can see, oh man, these points are so deep. Like if we just teach them like, guess what? Ravens are dead people. Then what happens is you don't gain anything from it. When do you gain from it is when we can cook the word and cook it in such a way that is so delicious that when you eat it, you're like, wow, this is it. That's what I've been looking for. That's what I was thinking about, right? So yeah, I hope that all of us can really understand and gain a lot from going over the lessons again, getting lecture training, or going to people who are great lecturers, and they will reinvigorate you and they will help you to see the word in a much, much deeper sense too. Okay? So yeah, that is today's first segment. Hope it's something that you guys all enjoyed. Of course, we have the Wednesday Message Word Study next, but before that, let's get into the first music break of the day.
2023. We've all come a long way. Many different stories, but we're all on the same journey. Many, many ups and downs, but we're all still around. Many, many, many lessons, but each one came with a blessing. Let's not forget for when we come from when we make this confession. Some people just want to watch the world burn. As for you and I, let's set ourselves on fire, shine a light so bright that will make the people say, burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for our downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say, born sinner, never could be ill. I know I'm back from the dead, yeah, the Lord is my healer. I took the red pill, that's why I call him teacher. When you learn about the spirit, oh, there ain't nothing realer. The one you learn from determines your entire destiny. Learn from the one who taught about eternity. Cloud craving, paper chasing, the joy is only temporary. I don't wanna do the same thing, so I had to count the vanity. I keep my eyes on the prize. I'll never sell my soul to the devil in disguise. With both hands on each side, I'm holding on to dear life. I keep my guard up, never back down. When it goes down, I call on the Christ. Spiritual battle, answer the call. It's Call of Duty, modern warfare, put the armor of God. They're fighting Lucy with a rock. I got atomic bombs, love the Lord your God and all your brothers once the demons fall. Don't be deceived, know who the ops is. Keep the unity and peace, go far way across this. Came to preach the word of God like I'm born in Tarsus. Here to testify the things I've seen on road to Damascus. He's the real deal, the real thing, be glad you heard the King's speech. Blessed are those who reach the end and get to hear the Lord speak. GODs, POC, we fulfilled everything. Burning life, kerosene, burning life, legacy.
You will never see me stop in the future. The life that fulfills God's will continue. Everyone thinks I'm unfortunate because I go through suffering. But inside of me it's different. Because I walk the path of eternal life.
Burning life, Look at the flames in my eyes, watch it burn, but don't stare too long, you might lose your sight. Some people gunning for our downfall, but they'll never see our demise. Burning life, who's the one? I'm the one, he's the one. Are you the one? No, we're the ones who keep the fire going till the day we die, till they see the light, make it bright, till we hear the people say,
like Mary poured out her perfume on Jesus' feet, I must pour out my heart, mind, and love on the one who saved me.
All right, so let's get into our second segment, which is the word study. And every Friday we do have the Wednesday Message Word Study. And of course, what a powerful and awesome message it truly was. The message this time, we usually have like a different title and stuff, but same one. Prophecies and promises have been fulfilled according to what the time period has done when the time came. And the scriptures, 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 21. For the prophecy never had its origin in the human will, but prophets, though human, spoke from God as they were carried along by the Holy Spirit. We had Matthew 11, 12, and 13, and then Romans chapter 1, verse 2. All right? So, we're already here at the third Wednesday message of April. Great, powerful message. Of course, all of you, we did go into the Sunday message on Monday, so let's get into today's Wednesday message. And I would say one of the biggest things that we're I'm starting to feel again. You know what? This is what I kind of feel like. And you guys can tell me if you guys feel something different. What I feel is, because remember, all these messages that are sent out by Sunstream, these are all probably being reviewed, right? All these messages that are being written and spoken of in each and every church in Providence, there are going to be slanderers. There are going to be other people that come into the church to listen to this message. It's almost like Sunstream is teaching the words again so that everyone who's listening, whether you're a slander, whether you're against us, when you hear this message, you have no choice but to believe these prophecies of the old time period. Don't go in with the wrong expectation, right? Don't think that it has to do with something 3,000-4,000 years ago, but realize it is fulfilled in reality right now, right? It's just like what I talked about when it came to the rebel pastor. One of the things is like, hey, if you really believe Jesus is the Messiah, then he has to fulfill everything that was written about him. So if he's truly the Messiah, then all those different things, those prophecies have to come out, and we have to recognize and say, well, if he's the Messiah, then he's got to bring the fire, the sword, the clouds, right? Sun, moon, and stars, all that has to come true, right? But we know, when you look at reality, we know something's different because he did not come riding on the clouds. Instead, he came from the earth riding on who? On the Messiah. It was Jesus Christ at that time, right? It wasn't a physical thing. It was a very deep and spiritual thing. God came back riding on the body of Jesus, right? And I told you guys this before. The Bible is so clear that the clouds are not literally clouds. How do I know? Well, think about this. Daniel 7:13 says, in my vision I saw a man coming on the clouds, right? And then in Micah 5:2 it says that Jesus is going to be born of woman. So is he born of woman, or is he coming literally from the sky? And the answer is, it's actually both. His physical body is born on the earth, and the Spirit of God will rest upon him, just like it says in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 1 and 2. The branch that comes from the stump of Jesse, right? What's going to happen to him? The Spirit of the Lord will rest upon him, right? So we have more and more verses that show that God is coming in spirit, resting on the person that is coming from the earth, which is Jesus, who came from Nazareth, prophesied, or Jesus of Bethlehem, prophesied from Micah chapter 5, verse 2, right? You can't come from both, physically speaking. One is physical and one is spiritual, right? And when you look at fire, how I think fire for me was one of the most clearest lessons where it is undeniable, because, it's not just Luke chapter 12, verse 49. Luke chapter 12, verse 49, Jesus says, I have come to bring fire, right? And I have come, which means he is going to, right? But Jeremiah 5:14 and 23:29, those are the big ones. Like, God is straight up, or not my words like fire, declares the Lord. And then he even breaks another parable and says, and like a hammer that breaks rocks to pieces. He's like, the word, my words, they're not just like fire. They're also like a hammer. They're also like a sword. They're also like this. They're also like that, right? That's why in Ephesians chapter 6, the armor of God, it talks about the sword is the word of the word of the Spirit. The sword is the words of God. Right? When we see how the Bible explains it, the Bible has the questions and the answers. So even people who are listening to this podcast who may not even be in Providence, they're going to understand how clear the Bible truly is. It doesn't matter how the prophecies were made. What the message is telling us, you have to see how they were fulfilled and follow it the way it's fulfilled. But people aren't looking at the way it's fulfilled. They just look at all these prophecies with their own thoughts and their own thinking. And that's why they'll even say something preposterous as, Jesus didn't bring fire, when Isaiah 66 says he has to bring fire. Jesus didn't come on the clouds, when Daniel 7:13 says he has to come on the clouds. What does that mean? If he has to, if he doesn't do it, he's not the Messiah. But since they don't know how the prophecies are fulfilled and they're still waiting for it physically to happen, what's happening to them? They are looking at it in such a physical way. It's so physical. And they're going to keep saying the Messiah hasn't come. Prophecy not fulfilled, Messiah hasn't come. That's why the people in the Old Testament time, when they saw Jesus, prophecy not fulfilled, this is not the Messiah. And they thought they had every right to even kill him. Right? Remember what God said? God said people who fail to realize are like beasts. They're animals. Animals don't realize. Animals don't have spirits. Animals don't go to heaven. There's no future for them. And instead, they just complain. And instead, they're frustrated, desperately wondering, what's taking so long? How could, what are they supposed to, wasn't Jesus supposed to come in the year 2000? Wasn't Jesus supposed to come during this solar eclipse? The time period ends and the new one begins without a delay, and they completely miss it. Completely missed Jesus. And they're completely missing it today too. Jesus is coming again. Or even more so, in the New Testament time, they're like, Jesus is coming again. He's going to ride on the clouds. Signs appear in heaven, and you know it's Jesus. Sun and the moon won't shine, or the moon turns blood red. Stars in the sky fall to the earth. All these things are going to happen. It's way different. It should have happened at the time of Jesus, right? In Joel chapter 3, that's the sun, moon, and stars. Joel chapter 2, verse 15, chapter 3, verse 30. No, chapter 2, verse 30 and 31, and Joel chapter 3, verse 15, it's all there. 2 Peter says that the heavens will disappear with a roar, elements will melt in the intense fire. But then it also says the day of the Lord will come like a thief, right? Like you're not going to see it happen. It's all there. And I think like the reason why I can feel it again is because I'm teaching a newcomer that's like that. They're like, this is great. This is amazing. Right? This is where it begins. We have to look at these things. Look at these prophecies. These are the proofs of the history that we're living in right now. It's the proof. All of it is proof. And that's why all the, people in the former faith, when they're waiting for Jesus, they're all waiting for the proof. Oh, we're looking up into the clouds. We're waiting for that trumpet sound to blast through the air. Oh my gosh, this is it. They're waiting for fire to come and start destroying the earth. So much is out there. There is so much in the Bible that is so clear that we need to be able to teach this powerfully. Just like it's coming out in the messages, just like the Wednesday message, just like the Sunday messages. Everyone's waiting for Jesus literally to come from the sky. But we all know it's only his spirit. And someone else comes in reality. And as more time passes, only those that believe and follow will know clearly and follow, like properly knowing that it's true. What's the key point? Interpret all the promises and prophecies of the past according to the facts of the way they were fulfilled. Right? When? In the present. Prophecies are about the future. It doesn't matter what it says in the past. It doesn't matter what the legends of that region or this or that. You have to discern by looking at how they were fulfilled. Right? That situation is the result. Remember Sasim said on Sunday that there's supposed to be some great person that comes from Mount Inde and he's supposed to have a large belt? And we're like, wait, is there someone, did Sasim really come up with a large belt? The answer is no. But we realize what's the belt. In the Bible, in Korean culture, the large belt is for kings. In the Bible, the belt is the belt of truth. So there's a king from that mountain will come with the belt of truth. It's going to happen how? Not as it was stated in the past, but how was it fulfilled in the present, and how are we going to follow it in the present? All of history has been done this way. It's actually one of the ways we teach the parables lesson. Remember how to break a parable in 2 ways. The first one is finding the answer in the Bible, like we just did before, right? Oh, guess what? What's the fire? Jeremiah 5:14. What's the fire? Jeremiah 23:29. Luke chapter 12, verse 49. It's all there. Are not my words like fire, declares the Lord. It's there, straight up. It's in your face, right? That's one way. But the second way to break a parable is cause and effect. Is the cause and the effect, like, how do you know how it's actually supposed to happen? Look at the cause and then see how it really happened. Center on the evidence. If there's no evidence, then you can't say it's true. But if there is evidence, then you know. Like, even that is like with the sun stop. What's the evidence that the sun didn't stop? Well, don't you think the entire world would notice? Half the world would notice that the sun is up an extra 24 hours, and half the world would be sleeping for an extra 24 hours. And we know what happens if we sleep for too long. Our back hurts. We know if we work too long in the sun for an extra 24 hours, we're going to die in the sun. No one noticed it except for Joshua. No one else in the world noticed an extra 24 hours. Right? People are waiting. People are waiting for God. People are waiting for Jesus. We're all being born in the same world. The biggest problem we're facing is we all think differently. We're not thinking properly. We're not thinking the way God thinks. And that's what has to change. God sends the person who is promised at the time of that new time period and carries out history centering on him. And if we figure out how it all happens and we go to the person who is sent and they teach us how they came fulfilling the prophecies, then it's like, oh, okay, I got it. But remember, he appears to those who are worthy. Who are those? It's those that are not stubborn, those that are not self-centered, those that are not arrogant, those that are not disobedient, even if they're given the word, those, that are not trying to do things their own way. It's like I watched this program on Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay. Some guy gets a recipe and they start doing it their own way. And they lose because they didn't do it according to the recipe. We have to realize we got to be at that level. We really do. This is God's will that is carried out in the history of each time period. And, God is going to repay everyone for those who follow the one that is sent and those who don't. There's some really powerful proverbs out there too. Like this one is like the most simplest but powerful. The result comes from the cause. The second one's just as powerful. The result came because of the cause. It's not just from the cause, it's because of it. And like there are some, if the cause is the problem, the result is the answer. Amen. The result turned out positive or negative because of the cause. And that makes sense. The cause is, what if you get blessed or what if you get cursed? Well, what was the cause? Whether you obeyed God's word or you didn't obey. Results don't happen for no reason. There is a cause. And if there is no cause, there is no result. So if you see a result, you got to figure out that cause. Where's that cause come? What is the cause? When you have a cause, you're looking for the result, but you can't look at it in the way that you think. That's why the seventh one was, you can know the result only if you analyze the cause carefully. And when you do, you'll find the cause of the problem. And when you solve that problem, then you'll get the answer and things will turn out well. This is something that's happened to me, for a lot of us is dreams. You dream also according to what you have done. Interesting, right? It's according to what you've done. You will know the cause by looking at the result. But that dream one is like, you dream also according to what you have done. You can't just say, that's why it's hard for someone else to interpret your dream. Usually you're the one that knows the answer because you're the one who knows what you've done. That last proverb, number 12. Whatever the cause may have been, you judge according to what the result has become. It is like this. Regardless of the dream you had, you have no choice but to look at it according to what happened during waking hours. Right? It's true. Even the person in the dream who wrote their dream inside the comment section, they saw it in reality. They have no choice but to look at it after looking at what's happening in the waking hours. It's not something that happens in the dream world. It's happening because there's a cause, something that happened in the physical world, or that result. You get a spiritual dream and you're going to find the result in the physical world when you're in your waking hours. That's how it works. So yeah, there's great message, but that's the kind of the feeling I have is like, man, it's almost like Sunstein's preaching to all these people. He really is. He really is preaching to these people. Yeah. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's the Wednesday message recap. Hope you guys really enjoyed it. If you have any comments, put them in the section below. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this too. And definitely, I would, what do we have left? Oh, finally, we have Until the End with Daniel Baker. I hope you guys really enjoyed this section too. Always doing such a good job. All right. So before we get into that, let's move into the last music break of the day.
I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now that I need. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now that I need. We stay looking for someone to hold when the right one's standing at your door. Open up your heart and say, I believe in what you say, and I promise you will gain much more. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now that I need. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now. 10 years of struggle, 10 years of pain, but I'll finally get to see you no more. Just calling your name, and the ones who wonder who, just open up your eyes. He's waiting for you too. He's not a man in disguise. And the hardest cross to bear, but your heart's not what I wear. To think this effort and this love could overcome the dirty stairs. And it's all because of you. Yeah, it's all because of you. Said it's all because of you. Yeah, I need you. Looking for someone to hold when the right one's standing at your door. Open up your heart and say, I believe in what you say, and I promise you will gain much more. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now that I need. Yeah, we're looking for the lost ones. I was a lost one. I found the right one. I found the right one. Yes, you right now. Yes, you right now that I need.
Okay, so let's get into our final segment for this Friday podcast and for the entire week. And of course, we have Daniel Baker all the way over there in Korea, in caddy school at the moment. I can't wait to see him tomorrow. I'll be seeing him today actually, and we're going to be hanging out in Incheon and Seoul. And then of course, the next day we're all going to head over to the volleyball tournament too. So I'm very, very excited, very happy about this also. But everyone all the way from Korea, let's welcome Daniel Baker with Until the End.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Do It Until the End podcast. I hope everyone is having an amazing week with the Trinity. Let's have an amazing rest of the week together. This week is the volleyball tournament in Korea, and I'm super excited. Last year when we had the volleyball tournament, me and Pastor Sky and my brother Joshua, a couple other SS, we were on the same team and we got third place. It was a really fun time. And this year's volleyball tournament, something has changed. Something has changed. I don't know how much Pastor Sky told you guys about the whole situation, but I'm still on the Gumsan team, but Pastor Sky and another Malaysian, a really good volleyball player, is on the White Stone team. Now, that wouldn't really matter for me because, of course, I give them all the love, even though they're on a different team. That wouldn't really matter if we're not in the same group, right? Me and our team, our Gumsan team and White Stone are in the same group, so we're gonna have a really nice volleyball game together, and our battle will be legendary. And I'm really looking forward to giving an amazing performance, but also give a lot of glory to the Trinity. So yeah, I'm really excited for the volleyball tournament, and if anyone's there, I would love to meet all of you guys. And so I'm really, really excited for the volleyball tournament. Now, recently I really been thinking about like my career and stuff, and I'm kind of in like the part of my career where everything is pretty slow, like improvement, like the different amount of like effort I have to give in my work it is not the greatest right now. So I don't have to give like 100% of my effort. Like I only have to do like 5 hours of work during the day. But before that, I'm supposed to like study and stuff, right? So I'm not super motivated to do it. But I was kind of like thinking to myself, like, what am I doing here, right? Because I felt like I was getting so little effort, right? And I kind of did not know what to improve on, right? Because I got the basics down. I got like the ability to, the ability to do the work that I'm supposed to do like pretty decently. But at this point, I'm like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, what are the things I need to improve on? And, I usually, this opportunity is not given to me, or is not given to people in my position, but I was able to have an apprentice, for my work, right? And really teach this person how to caddy, or give them decent tips for caddying, right? And as I was like really thinking about what that person can improve on, it made me really reflect on how I can improve my life, or how I can improve my job performance. And I kind of realized that if you don't improve at all within the day, then it's absolutely a failure. But if you really improve even 1% or even half a percent every single day, then you're constantly making progress, right? And what I really want to say to you guys is, even though life can be really slow and you might not have that much motivation, or you might not feel like your life is moving in like a super rapid, fast way, those days where you have nothing to do, where you feel like nothing is happening, that you're making no improvements in your life, those days, when they add up, and if you make constant improvements, those days will add up, and you will have a massive improvement in the future, while you suddenly after a while, after making those improvements, you'll be like, wow, I really improved. But if you don't make those improvements, and if you struggle, if you have a hard time, then, and if you don't make those improvements, 1 to 2 months from now, you're just going to be in the same space, the same place. And that's like the worst feeling you can have, especially in like a competitive environment, like the work I'm doing right now, where you can kind of see like everyone else is doing massively different things from you because you're still doing the basics, right? So what I wanted to say today is, even though you're kind of not doing like super well, or there's nothing special going on in your life, these days really matter for your improvement as a person, but also in your spiritual and physical lives. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope everyone has an amazing rest of the week with the Trinity. Now, to everyone who's going until the end, let's walk this path together. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
And thank you so much, Daniel, for another wonderful and amazing segment for Until the End. Hope you guys are inspired and moved. Please encourage, leave him some comments. He's doing such a good job over there too. All right. So there it is, guys. That is the end of today's Friday podcast. Hope you guys have an amazing and awesome weekend. I will be in Korea, and my next podcast will be done probably inside Wonyeongdong. So I'm super excited about that too. All right. So there it is, guys. Enjoy. Have a great weekend. Have an amazing Sunday service. Pray for the volleyball tournament so that our team can win the volleyball tournament. Of course, it's going to be almost impossible because there's Taiwan and Japan there too. But everyone, enjoy, and we'll see you guys again on Monday on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone.